What's good, y'all? It's your boy Mattrixx, and hope you're having a good day today. Now, if you're subbed to my channel, you obviously know that I make Oldies Remixes, right? But I feel like a lot of you guys might be producers. I'm not sure. A lot of you guys are actually just like average people listening. I'm not saying that you guys are like average, you know, but I'm saying like a lot of you guys are just people listening and not producers. So yeah, if you guys are just even a little interested on how I make the remixes, then you know, you may want to watch this video. Alright, so the last remix I uploaded was the Platter's Only You, and yeah, I mean, a lot could go into these remixes, or a little bit, because you know, you could go from simple to like really complex to something like EDM. And when it comes to like this style, I usually tend to kind of keep it simple, you know, it's more of a like, how do I not ruin this song and still kind of add stuff to it, instead of like, because you know, I could obviously change this up. Like, you guys really don't know how much I can change up a song, but I try to keep it simple because that's just what I want for the classics. I want them to kind of still be like a classic, but still somehow have elements that I put into them. Alright, so there is still one part I've never even talked about like at all in the videos, and it's basically syncing the audio from the old track to fit like the grid of a new song. Because alright, so let's say I put like 76 BPM, which is the tempo of the song, which is how fast the song is if you don't know what tempo is, and basically it's really consistent. Like, these computers, you know, everything's so consistent, like it's perfect. Basically, if you say 76, it's gonna go 76 beats per minute. That's how, you know, that's how it works. But back then they didn't have computers, so you know, they just had to either have like one of those metronomes where, you know, they're just going like they just like tick to the, you know what I mean. I'll put like a little picture or whatever. Or if they didn't have that, they just did everything, you know, just humanly, like the most humanly way, which is just trying to keep it as steady as you could. Like, let's say if I play guitar, I'll try to play like consistent, right? But you know, after a while you kind of lose it, and you know, you might play like different BPMs in that same song. It's like a variety of them. So let's say I was trying to play like 76, right? And then I might go to like 80 for like a little bit, and you know, I'll actually just show you guys what I mean. Alright, so if you guys could see this song right here, this is the song that I synced up, and you know, I renamed it to 78 BPM because you know, that's what it is. However, the original song, this right here, that's not perfect at all. Like, you can see this starts here and ends up right here, right? Because you know, it stays 78 BPM throughout the whole time. This, however, doesn't. Like, if I play it right now, let me try to just get the first beat on it. Alright, so there, this one and this one should be starting at the same time, right? And let me just show you guys. Alright, so now I'm gonna play it, and you guys are gonna see it stays within the metronome all the time. So yeah, anyone can tell that's on beat, basically. Alright, and then this is the original song, okay? The one I downloaded from online, and this is what it sounds like when you put the metronome with it. Only you can, it's already off beat. So that's why I need to basically manually sync up the song, and that process is you know, anywhere from like an hour to 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, depending. So I'm not gonna show you guys that because again, it takes a long time, and you have to like chop up the song basically and try to like align it with the grid. And trust me, this used to take a long time back then, because FL Studio 20 made things way easier, you know, compared to back then. Back then there was a, alright, so here's the modes for stretching, right? Time restretching, yeah. So resample, basically when you change up the timing of a song, it's gonna pitch up with it. That's how resample works. But then FL Studio 20 added this new stretch mode, which if you stretch a sample, it's gonna stay that same pitch no matter what you do to it. And that made things so much easier, because that means I don't have to, well, the way I do things. Alright, so I kind of left out a part 2. Basically, back then, if you didn't want a song to pitch up or down, if you stretched it, you would have to select this right here, E3 generic. And what that does is it stretches up the whole sample, and you have to wait for it to load up, because basically it takes time for it to kind of like process it. But now when you put stretch, it just kind of like does it instantly, and when you chop up the song, it doesn't have to load up. Basically what it did is cut some time for me, because back then it added up a couple seconds between like every section I would do. But this right here, it makes everything way easier. And then also just like, you know, certain things. All right, so now that I got that out of the way, you know, all the stretching, all that, which could take like hours, and because I've done it a lot, I've actually gotten used to it as well, which is why I'm able to do it like in about an hour to 2 hours maybe. You know, it's like a really hard process. You have to be really patient and just really like up to do it. I know a lot of people wouldn't be able to do it just because it's so time consuming and just it's boring to do. I mean, sometimes it's boring. It is what it is, you know. All right, so after that, I export the song and then I drag it into the timeline, which is this right here, like this thing right here that's called the playlist, right? And I make sure the tempos are the same. They're not the same anymore because I lowered the BPM for the project itself. So now it's not 78 BPM, it's a 76. And you can do that because I have it, you know, I have stretch mode on, so when I move this, everything's gonna move to the tempo. So yeah, and then after that, one of the first things I do is change the pitch of the song because copyright. Okay, like I don't know how many times I've answered this question in comment sections, and the reason I change the pitch is because I don't want to get copyright claimed. And there's a lot I could say about this, but it's not really like the video for it. We're just gonna go ahead and say that I just changed the pitch because I don't want to get copyright claimed. All right, simple as that. And then I know a lot of people are like, oh, keep the original pitch, but then that means like, you know, it just brings in so many variables and stuff like that. So I try to change the pitch and, you know, just like, trust me, I want the original pitch a lot of the times because that's just what the song is gonna sound like the best, right? But you know, we gotta do what we gotta do. For this specific song, I actually have two tracks playing. I have this song playing 4 semitones up. So there's this one. This is the original pitch right here. So yeah, you can hear the difference there. And then I just use the pitch knob to turn it up. And then we have this one, which is the lower octave. So all I did was, you know, pitch it up 4 semitones to keep it up with this one. But over here, I turn it all the way down, which, you know, it's 12 semitones and it's gonna be 1 octave. Together, they sound like this. Now, if you heard the second track when I was playing it, it has some heavy mixing in it. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say heavy, but I got rid of all the lows and then I got rid of all the highs basically. And then, you know, there's some stereo enhancing in there and some reverb. That's pretty much it. So yeah, most of the difference you hear is this right here. Like all that is gone basically, and then it just sounds very thin, you know. And this one right here, this is the one that I try to keep more in the spectrum of it because it's, you know, it's most of the track. So this is what that is. We got an EQ there, a chorus, and then compressor to, you know, like music back then wasn't really compressed that much, so I try to, you know, compress it a little bit more. And then especially with these like louder sounds, you want to make it sound like, you want to make it stand out, if that makes sense. And then we have a reverb and pretty much it. And then these two tracks are here, they both connect. Like if you see this route right here, you know, these are called the routing to another track, or enter tracks, whatever you want to call it. So I'll just rename this right here. Let's call it song. I don't know. Let's just call it song, right? And then this right here, this controls both of these right here. So if I turn down the volume here, it's going to control both of these. And then we have another compressor, and then we have LFO tool, which gives it that dugging sound I have on it. Watch, I don't know. I don't know if you guys can tell or not, but it goes down and then it goes back up and then down. Like it kind of creates like a sort of bouncy feel, you know. It's just like, and then after that comes the sounds that I add. These matter a lot because, like I said, you don't want to ruin the song, even though some people think I do. So I mean it's whatever. I don't really care. And so yeah, you gotta, all of this sound selection is really important. You want to make sure you pick the right sounds. You know, you make sure you gotta make sure you mix them in right as well to sound like they're part of the song itself. Like if I just slapped them on there, it's gonna sound like I just slapped them on there, and that's not what it's about. So yeah, like I said, sound selection is really important, and this is really up to like mostly me to kind of pick the right sounds. And so if you want to try to do this, you gotta, it's really about you, what you think sounds the best. And yeah, like good luck on that. Because I can't really help you on that. It's more of personal like preference. So right here, if you hear this 808, it's not aggressive at all. It's just plain and simple. It has some distortion to it, but it's really clean. And you know, it has distortion for you guys to be able to hear it, because when you add distortion, it adds harmonics and makes it be able to be heard more like on these type of headphones. Well, I mean, not these, because these actually have bass, but I'm saying something like Apple earphones or something like that that doesn't have, you know, as good as bass as these, or like proper speakers. So yeah, you want to make sure your bass is being heard. And then within the 808 itself, you gotta basically make the bass line through all, you know, all the song. And it's not just like one simple pattern, because nowadays, you know, we can have about 8 bars being the same thing throughout the whole, you know, the whole song, and it's going to be the same melody over and over again. And the thing is, these oldies aren't exactly like that. They're actually more of like a variety of the same, well, like they're in the same scale, right? And they just kind of change up a little bit. So you could see this is the first pattern, and then obviously I changed it up right here. So yeah, that's something they did. I'm not saying back then, because people still do it. It's just really depends on the song and maybe like the genre of the song, if you want to have like a variety of bass lines within the song. All right, and then comes the kick. This should pretty much be easy. It's more of sound selection as well, because you just align the kick with the 808 pretty much. Whenever the 808 hits, that's when the kick is gonna hit. So you just, you know, pretty much have it hit at the same time, and you should be good with that. Just make sure to pick a good kick, and you know, I just make sure they're punchy and just have a good hit to it. You know, that's pretty much it. All right, so now is the snare, the claps, whatever you want to use. I usually use snares because that's kind of what's involved with oldies. You know, they don't really have like a clap, because you know, if you would listen to trap, some songs could have snares or some songs could have claps, or both of them. But yeah, like most of these songs are gonna have snares because they have like drums going on to them. So if you hear the song, like if you hear that, it sounds like a rim shot or like a snare, a really thin snare. So that's what I do. I have a snare with it. However, there's a thing within music production where you can layer sounds to make it sound either like more full or like different. And so we have this first snare. That's what that sounds. It's kind of choppy and hard hitting. And then we have this one. It sounds really realistic. Well, I wouldn't say realistic, but acoustic. That's the right word for it. Because it sounds, you know, real. Like if you were to hit a real drum snare, that's what it would sound like. And then we have this. It's like a really, again, this is the same thing. It's another snare, but just acoustic, and it's more of a like a really, it's more of a tight snare instead of having like, you know, kind of like a tail to it. So yeah, we have this, and then together they sound like this. And then within those snares, I have a delay going on. So if I play this part, I actually took it off. So that's what that sounds like. And then right here at the beginning of the song, I have the delay on. This is what this whole thing is right here. It's called the automation clip, and basically you can change values throughout the song. You know, you can just draw them in. So like you see that, whatever value is right here at the same time as the playhead, that's what's gonna, you know, be going on. So yeah, like I said, this is delay on, and then delay off. All right, next up I have an open hi-hat, and it's from Cashmere Pack if you're just wondering. And again, it's like really raw. It's more of an acoustic type. So when I say acoustic, it's more realistic, if that makes sense, because you know, a lot of these trap samples are really distorted and kind of like chopped up for them to sound different. When it comes to these, you know, more classic type of stuff, I like to keep it more real or more acoustic. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I just have like reverb on there, kind of make it fit in more within the mix. All right, and then after that, I have a closed hi-hat, which is, you know, something really, it's just short. Alright, and then if you see this pan knob, it's like moving around on itself. It's because I have this thing called peak controller, and then it automates like, you know, just the value. Well, I mean, it's called the LFO, and it goes up and down throughout the whole thing. And I usually have this plugin called Panman. It basically does the same thing. It's just it does it on its own. Well, here I had to kind of create that value itself, and then I had to route that over to the pan knob. So yeah, I hope that's not too complicated, but like I said, I don't have the Panman plugin right now just because I haven't installed it yet. It's on my other computer, but when I do get it over here, maybe I'll show you guys later in some other vids. So yeah, we have this hi-hat, and it just does that throughout the whole song, and we have it, you know, panning from left to right. Alright, so I'm gonna just let you guys listen to this real quick. Now if you hear it, that is not to the grid. It's just, I actually just manually played it, and I did that because I did not want it to just kind of be on the grid. Like when you have it on the grid, it just sounds really consistent and kind of just plain and boring. So it's called swing. When you do this, like, it's called swing, you know, having it like kind of like having a rhythm to it. And on top of that, you want to make sure you kind of play around with the velocity, because you do not want it to be the same when it comes to a more realistic type of hi-hat, because when you're playing real drums, you're not hitting it exactly the same. You know, sometimes you're gonna hit it a little softer, or you want to hit it a little harder sometimes. Just try to listen to it and then see how these right here, the ones right here on the beat, hit harder than the ones between them. Alright, and then the rest of the song is actually just maybe like variations of patterns. So yeah, like I said, the 808s, I actually have a whole bunch of patterns for them because the bass line changes throughout the song. And you can see pattern 4, pattern 11, pattern 8, pattern 5, pattern 4, 11, 9, 6, blah 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 blah. And for the drums, I only have 2 patterns, changes throughout, you know, like I can have more, but sometimes I just kind of feel like keeping it the same. And then, you know, we have the snares. And then we have the open hi-hat, which only comes right here, over here, and then over there. Alright, the reason we have them play at certain sections is because we want more movement throughout, you know, the song. So for example, like here, we're gonna have something more like, I don't know how to explain it. It's just gonna be more exciting as it makes. Like for example, the chorus, right? It's where everything's going on, maybe. Alright, so for example, the chorus of the song, right? You want it to be probably the most exciting part of the song, you know, where everyone kind of just like, that's the part, that is the part. And then we have parts where you just kind of want to kind of dial it down, right? So we get rid of those hi-hats and those open hi-hats. Let me move it to here, actually. Right, see how it's all kind of settled in, and then here at the beginning of the song, it's more, it's more going on, if that makes sense. And then, oh, I actually forgot about these things. I have reverse hi-hats. They're exactly the same hi-hats I have over there. They're just, you know, I reversed them, and then I kind of mess with this out knob, which kind of gets rid of the end part of it, but because it's reversed, this part is the end. So watch, let me just, oh wait, never mind, I forget what I so this right here, it basically lowers the volume of like the end part of the sample. So if I put it all the way down, you can see it's really loud at the end, but I don't want it to do that because, you know, I want it to be more settled, if that makes sense. And then, so this is what it sounds like all out. It's just more of aggressiveness, and then when I bring it down, it's just more settled in. And then yeah, I just have you know, a couple of those coming in when nothing else is happening. And at the end I have, what is this? Oh yeah, there's just another pattern of hi-hats. So here, like, they're really consistent, you know. And then over here I changed the pattern of them. So And yeah, that's pretty much it. Actually, I'm gonna show you guys like some small details I do. So like I said, when I do the song, like at the beginning of the song, when I'm syncing it up, everything's consistent, right? Like everything's hitting on the beat. But then a lot of songs back then, when they're about to end, they actually kind of slow down, and that's something I leave. So this is why you can see like on the 808 right here, it's not actually hitting on beat, because I leave the end of the song to kind of slow down like as they do. So here, let me play the song. Alright, so you're gonna hear this is on beat still, right here. Right here, that's already off beat, but that's why here I have to go in and then kind of make it on beat to the original song to kind of keep that originalness of slowing down at the end. And yeah. Well, it looks like that is pretty much it for this video. Like I said, keep it simple with these remixes, and don't take my word for that as well. Like I might do something a little bit more complex maybe one day, but as for the old but gold type of serious thing, you know, I keep those simple. And then I have like flips here and there. I don't know if you guys have listened to the Angel Baby flip, but that I kind of just took a loop like of the song and then kind of like changes it up way more than I usually do. So it's just like a, you know, it's, I don't know, you just go listen to that if you haven't. But yeah, I hope you guys learned something if you guys are producers, and if not, I hope this was a little entertaining for you. So yeah, thanks for watching, and peace out.